Hello there. In front of me today, I have 2009's Home 1 Mon Calamari Star Cruiser, which is a waffle of a title. I'm very happy they're keeping the new sets a little shorter. But this is a set that I personally have been eyeing up for quite a long time. It's got a ton of play features, including a little swivel play feature for this A-Wing here, and an exact replica of the same play feature for Admiral Akbar's chair. But today, we're not just here to take a look at all the really cool play features of a set that's now over 15 years old. We will also be improving the three things that are keeping this from being a 2025 set. And those three things are the A-Wing model, which definitely looks like it is from 15 years ago. We've also got quite a few stickers in this set, which I think we could remove, and the minifigures that came with this build are very much outdated. So I already have a selection of minifigures on this set. Why can't we add more? We're not limited to the same constraints as Lego, but before I get into that, I'd just like to talk about where I got these bricks from. Nearly all of the elements needed to build this set here were sent to me by Bricknut, the sponsor of today's video. In fact, the only piece that I needed to 3D print myself was this bionicle dome that is one of the rarest pieces that come out of the late 2000s. You may remember hearing me talk about Bricknut previously here on the channel. In fact, about a month ago, we were looking for the cheapest way to build mocks, Bricknut representing alternate compatible bricks. And if you really want to save money, it's a no-brainer. This set, brand new in the condition I have it here, would have cost me upwards of £150 without calculating international delivery on top of that. But all the pieces needed to build this are valued at only £50, and that's a lot closer to the recent Lego Tantive boarding. By the way, Lego sets don't usually look this much better after just 15 years. I have heavily modified this build, but the size comparison speaks for itself. On top of an already heavy reduction, you can get an extra 15% off your purchase by using my affiliate link down in the description, and that's on top of free delivery when you spend over $30, or that's about 25 quid for us Brits. Their website literally cannot be any easier to use. Upload your CSV using Rebrickables color palette and bam, your order is ready to purchase. I'm not telling you to stop buying Lego sets, but let's face it, if you want to afford the latest ships, perhaps Bricknut can take some strain off you and your wallet. A massive, massive thank you to Bricknut for sponsoring this video. And now let's get on to 3 steps to improve this set. Believe it or not, building a 789 piece set actually takes quite a long time. So it's now a brand new day here. We're not only replacing the minifigures that come in the set and adding a few other named characters, we are going all out, packing this set full of basically every minifigure I can. And the scene that we are building is from Return of the Jedi. It's what this set has been taken from about midway through the movie when they're gearing up to attack the second Death Star. By the way, have I even mentioned that this is my favorite original trilogy movie? Even if you include Solo, Rogue One does come pretty close. You could even say this is the father of all original trilogy movies. Well, at least to me. My favorite Star Wars movie, just for the record, is actually Attack of the Clones. But just like the Star Wars fan base, this set can split so easily. Oh, I'm going to get backlash for that. And that makes it so easy to just throw the A-Wing out of the way, not literally, and focus first on the briefing room / cockpit build to the left. Technically, this build does also split. You can remove the chairs at the front and have the cockpit room separate to the briefing, which I think for small displays is amazing. And I'd love to see more sets that break apart and are modular in the Lego Star Wars theme. But starting with this briefing deck here, we see so many of these minifigures on here, and I am going to try to save a few for the hangar. And of course, we've got a few that will go up in the cockpit. But I think first we'll take a look at the minifigures I'm updating from the original set. Now I've got the minifigures laid out, we are ready to add. And starting off with Mon Mothma, who sort of heads this little training discussion, prepping everyone, and then introduces our next minifigure, who is Crix Medine. I think Lego smashed it with the minifigures in this set. There are not a lot of minifigures you can get outside the set, besides the A-Wing pilot, but of course, the A-Wing comes with the set, so we couldn't miss them out. Crix Medine and Mon Mothma are actually standing in the doorways of this build over on the left, and now we want to get a few more minifigures here. So I'm going to bring in Lando. This is my Empire Strikes Back Lando. I don't yet own General Lando Calrissian, and whilst I could have perhaps 3D printed Lando, I like the fact that the only piece I had to 3D print was this orange Death Star for the middle. Whilst we're talking about it, I really like that Lego have included two of these Technic stoppers in yellow, because the thick one doesn't exist in the yellow color unless you're ordering from Brick Nut, to represent the target right at the center of the second Death Star that the Rebel Alliance are looking to blow up. Lando can be one of our first minifigures to sit down. Another nice thing about this set is they sort of tier the minifigures as they're sitting down. I'll try to put up a closer image. It's a little harder to position their arms so that two minifigures fit, but we can fit a load of figures on this set. Now, the other three that came with the set aren't for here, but I think it's worth going over. I do have the A-Wing pilot. I think it's Jake something. I'll have their name up on screen for you, but I've given them some hair and actually used the original helmet from the set, which has been updated since, but both of these parts are from my Brick Nut order, so you can order some parts for minifigures. I'll also shift our focus just temporarily to the deck up here, where we will have Admiral Akbar himself. This is the original torso that came in this set all the way back in 2009. I liked it so much that when I got the Force Awakens set that came with the Force Awakens Akbar, I picked up this torso just to make this custom minifigure. And of course, Akbar's going to be sitting in Akbar's throne, and you can even trap him in by pulling down this little tile that we will be decaling later on. The play feature is really, really cool, and I actually have one of the old Lego power functions, which if I plug into that spinning axis, we can send Akbar into a dizzy spell, to say the least. But enough of that, Akbar needs some help at his side. So we are going to take what I believe Lego have made as the mechanic of the set by their spanner, which is a Rebel crew member with a very similar head, if not the exact same head as Akbar. And we're going to take away the mechanics wrench, seating them on the right-hand side, because when Akbar sits down in the movie, I do believe it's the right-hand side that has someone sitting, not the left. And again, there's more stickers, so we will be revisiting that later on in the video. Lando's looking a little lonely over here, so let's give him some company, and we're going to start off with the main characters. Of course, we've got Leia in her Endor poncho, who will be sitting, I think it's quite a few up from Lando. And then next to Leia, we are going to put our favorite space cowboy, Han Solo. And to make this Han Solo minifigure, I've actually taken the top half from A New Hope and the bottom half from Empire Strikes Back, which is a fun costume change that isn't too hard to make in Lego. And of course, next to Han Solo, we have to put Chewbacca. Now, sitting behind Leia at the controls, we have our favorite protocol droid, C-3PO. And at the control to the left of 3PO, you can see something that resembles a medical droid. So I'm reusing this one from Hoth. It actually fits quite nicely in between the gap of the panel and the new fence elements I made, because a few of these pieces, like the fences at the front and like these giant slopes, weren't in stock on Brick Nut. So I have used alternate pieces which you can find on their website, and that is why the search feature is also pretty important. Next up, I will be putting my random crew of rebels, which are made using other pop culture heads, and they'll be sitting just to the right. Now, the reason downloading the unavailable pieces has really drawn my attention to Brick Nut is because not only can this be used by Lego, but Rubricable and Studio allow you to have pieces in colors that simply do not exist. And what that means for mock building is I could go to any other custom site like Brick Nut that sells a handful of elements in colors Lego wouldn't dare. and use them to not only complete my mock, but also make scenes that are more accurate than anything you can make with Lego. And that sounds awesome. Speaking of awesome, we have one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe, Luke Skywalker, who does make an entrance later on. So we are going to stand him to the side, and we're actually going to put him down one so we can fit his trusty companion R2-D2 just behind. To fill up the other side, I have a few of my Lego pilots, though we are going to want to save one for the hangar. And the same goes with these mechanics, which are actually just the personnel I've taken from my Yavin ceremony mock. Now that's going back some time. And with 7 minifigures left, I think it's time to put this back together and bring out the hangar. All right, maybe we can fit one more astromech. It is also worth noticing about this hangar that this isn't just one whole modular brick, but it too also splits up into another 3 segments. So technically this whole thing consists of 5 modular parts. And I know recently we've got sets like the Mandalorian Ambush Battle Pack and Paz versus Gideon, but I'd love to see something a little bigger scale that has that level of modularity. Or perhaps just something that they continue long enough to build out as big as this, because there's only so many Mandalorians you can buy. So we're going to first take off the A-Wing. We'll take a look at this in literally just a second, because we're going to put our A-Wing pilot perhaps up here on the side, ready to refuel their shuttle. We've also got a droid, which we're going to tuck round this corner, and that will be stood next to Hera and Jason, who were both present at the Battle of the Second Death Star. I guess the Battle of Endor, but in the skies. And they'll be standing right next to the droid. And perhaps they're reminiscing with Wedge, who they did meet up with in Rebels. On second thought, I'm not sure Wedge will be able to stand there without getting knocked over. So we're going to sit Wedge with this technician just on the other side of the hangar, hopefully out of harm's way. And now this is absolutely packed with minifigures. It's time to take a look at the ship. I do have to admit, the A-Wing that comes with this set is a pretty good model. I am so interested by the fact that the cockpit is actually a brick rather than just a cockpit on hinges, which we are so used to seeing in these recent ships. But of course, it does mean there is a massive hole in the nose. And it is also worth saying that I have 1,500 bricks approximately through Brick Nuts service, and I managed to scratch up one of them. And that reminded me, I didn't check these when they arrived. I went over, I not only checked these pieces, but I checked the other pieces, and not one of them arrived damaged in any way, which isn't to say every order will be perfect, but I'm pretty impressed that getting so many bricks, not even one of them was anywhere near faulty so early on in Bricknut service. Do ignore the scratch that I made. Metal and any sort of plastic bricks really shouldn't go together. I'm pretty sure that should be covered up with a sticker shortly anyway. This A-Wing has very, very few features. I'm pretty sure if you really wanted to, you could squeeze a second minifigure in the cockpit, but there is enough room for one person, and very similar to the model we're going to bring out next. The back does open up so that the engine can be completely removed. However, I think it works better if you use the actual set, because this A-Wing does have 2 1x4 plates on the bottom, which allow it to clip onto this middle bit, which allows it to spin without it actually being clipped down to any brick. And if you pull it forward, this has got such a long range of motion, and it looks like I was right. The minifigures just escape harm being in their positions. We also have this little lift mechanism at the top, and by lowering this down and clipping it to the stud on the back of the engine, which is bright red, you really can't miss it, you can actually lift it out and take it over to the refueling station on the left. This is an awesome play feature. Why haven't we seen this since? Because I was only getting into Lego around 2009. You can even drop the engine wherever you want, and I guess the A-Wing isn't going anywhere. And that's why you can push it to the back using this lift and perhaps spin it to get another ship just in front. Now, I did say at the height of the video, this A-Wing looks like it is 15 years old and definitely isn't the sleekest model. But recently, I have built, and yes, this A-Wing has been on the desk the whole time, my own model kind of inspired off the one we got from the sequels, Rise of Skywalker specifically in 2019, maybe even 2020. And I think this model looks a lot more like the one we see in the movie. Quite literally, the one in Return of the Jedi is red that sits in the hangar, and Lego made theirs green. That being said, both of these still are really cool models to get your hands on, and because this isn't built with Lego, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to keep this one built. But does this A-Wing work with the set? Technically, if you were to take the instructions off Rebrickable and build it, no, it doesn't. However, I have added a 2x4 brick with 2 of those 2x2 plates, meaning it can sit in the little pulley system here, and it does spin. It sits a little higher than the other one, but it still clears both sides of the set. And funnily enough, I didn't build my engine to be removable. However, what I did build was a little portion of the A-Wing just at the back, which removes to reveal a almost hidden stash of weapons, ammo, food, really anything you can get in there. And that means the play feature of the set still works wonders, as you can pull this over. Perhaps this is the modern engine block and is more of an A-Wing battery. Either way, the play function still works with my A-Wing mock without many modifications. You only need that one to get the A-Wing in here in the first place, and I think that's really awesome. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I really enjoyed building this set. I did also mention you could fit 2 A-Wings in here, so if I push mine to the back and try and seat the original one just in front, you can definitely fit 2 A-Wing sized ships in this hangar. And already this set is looking so much better. So the next thing we've got to do is get some extra details to the bricks in this set. It's so easy to put together. And taking a look back again at the A-Wing whilst we are here, in the cockpit there is a black slope that should have a printed tile which matches up to Luke's X-Wing in A New Hope. The trench run, you see the design of Luke's monitor, I guess, and that basically set the standard for all Rebel vehicles that came after A New Hope. I suppose even the other ones like the A-Wings in A New Hope would have had the same monitor fitting. But that printed piece doesn't exist, so I used a regular 2x4 black slope to replace it. And what I found interesting when researching this piece is the black slope wasn't only used in basically every single ship at the time, even some of the bigger Technici models, but it has been recently updated to a grey brick in the Yavin Ceremony play set, and it's got an updated print, so that's what I'll be using to make the decal. Now, the decals haven't actually arrived yet due to delays over Christmas, thanks Amazon, but as soon as they arrive, I am ready to start decaling this model top to bottom, and hopefully that'll be the last touch we need. This is where the fun begins. And not only do we have the decal paper, which the reason we were waiting for this is because this is white backed, and typical printers you have at home, not 3D printers, but inkjet printers, can't print white ink. So the clear decal paper I originally had wouldn't look the best for this set. But I've also gone and printed and then sealed 3 lots of the sticker sheet plus some extra A-Wing cockpits, because I'm hoping we can add one of those monitors into my A-Wing mock, as well as the one that comes in this set. But as we go through this, I think this would be an amazing time to take a look at all of the play features and the little details I've taken straight from Revenge of the Jedi. Starting off with the A-Wing that actually comes in the set, though we have improved it, I have decaled where the original stickers would go, and I think it actually looks really, really nice. Lego haven't overdone it, and I really like the little control panel on the inside. This is the updated one from the Yavin Ceremony. I thought if we are going to decal that piece, we might as well use the newer version. And then I have copied across 3 of these stickers onto my mock A-Wing, my modified Resistance A-Wing this is. So we've got the Rebel logo. I replaced the sticker that was on this right-hand side, and I've just got to say it makes it look so much better. And on the interior, I've also added a control panel which sits slightly forward so we can get it at an angle that looks a lot closer to what we see on screen. And I like the way the decals sit compared to the stickers. Stickers seem to be just a little bit, and we are talking millimeters here. This is nitpicking if anything, but stickers are quite visibly stickers, whereas these decals, I mean, you can see on the camera there, you can't really see where the decal ends and where it begins. There's a little white outline around this, and though it's not exactly the same color as the Lego brick, I think it definitely looks better than stickers and is the closest we can get to printed parts without spending thousands on a printer. Switching across to instruction book 2, we now have the other side, which is the little bridge and briefing room, which houses Akbar here in his captain seat alongside 2 other commanders or officers. And the first sticker they get you to apply is right at the top here, which is a little screen, which you see many screens in this room in Return of the Jedi. So it's a real nice touch that they've got these here and some warning lights when they realize it's a trap. But before we take a look at any of the other stickers, I have actually got out my old power functions and made a little gearbox that we can attach to this. It's much too dangerous to do this to the A-Wing, but by turning on this box, Akbar just uncontrollably spins, and I think it's so satisfying. We can send Akbar into a dizzy spell, to say the least. But back to the decals we have added. Gull does have a little controller, and it looks very much like, I'm not sure you're really able to see it at that angle, it looks a lot like the decal we've just applied to the cockpit of the A-Wing. So I don't know if Akbar's got a third-person camera of the approach on the second Death Star, but then we also have 2 of these little side tables as well, which have quite a bit of detail on, and I'm sure they look close to, if not near exactly, the control panels, or at least one of the control panels straight from the movie. But now spinning it around, we have these control panels which sit around all the different seats. There is one just in there, 4 there, and the 5th one is just by Luke. And I think it's a really nice detail for them to have added. Again, just reminding you that this set is so modular, you can pop the seats off just like so, and it actually splits into 5 different segments. So I really hope to see more of that in future Lego sets. And that has been the 3 updates I would make to this Home 1 playset. Again, thank you, massive shout out to Bricknut for sponsoring and sending all the pieces to build this mock. Let me know if you are not convinced on Bricknut and perhaps you'd like to see another mock built here on the channel. I'm sure I will definitely be using their services for future mocks here on the channel, especially as we close in to 100k subscribers, where I promised you I would build a minifigure scale Star Destroyer. So if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and check out the other Bricknut video on your screen if you'd like to know more about the service they provide. I've had so much fun building this, and I am definitely going to be adding this to my display, so keep an eye out for a future video. Thank you so much for watching, and may the bricks be with you always. Since making this video, Bricknut have put out a few updates across their social medias, so be sure to go over and follow them if you want to know when these new features are added.